let me show you how I practice to hopefully make your next practice session a little bit more effective. Now, I'm definitely going to speed up the shots for the sake of you just watch me hit golf balls, but I want to really highlight how to practice to get the most out of the game, especially if you're doing any swing changes or if you're struggling to take your range swing onto the golf course. If you are buying your bucket of balls and just smashing 50, 100 golf balls just aimlessly and not really having a structure, you're not going to translate those skills to when you go to the golf course. I've got a small basket of balls today, but I've split it into three. I've got my block practice session, I've got my random practice session, and I've got my game-based practice session. I've got a few balls just to warm up to get it loosened up, but the idea of splitting your practice into three is block practice allows you to do any sort of swing changes that you're doing, any sort of swing thoughts, drills, etc. When you move into random practice, that's when you can maybe start changing clubs, bringing in your pre-shot routine, still thinking about maybe those swing changes you're doing and doing drills, but it's doing those drills with something other than your 7-iron, which you would normally do in a block practice session. We always tend to use a mid-iron and get really good with that mid-iron. We need to be getting good with our shorter clubs, longer clubs and driver, etc. And then a bit of a game-based practice. Now, I'm at a drive range where there's no technology. I want to show you what you can do just as a way of having a bit of fun at the end of your practice session to help you translate onto the golf course. Of course, if you've got technology, then a game-based seems to be a lot easier. But let me just do a couple of stretches. I'm going to hit 5 warm-up shots and then we'll show you what block practice is. So really, those 5 shots had real no swing thoughts. Really not interested about how I strike it, what the direction. It's just about getting the body moving. Now, moving into my first row of golf balls. So I've got 12 with each, just for my little practice today. So block practice is swing changes, swing thoughts, swing feels, whatever you are currently working on with you and your coach. For me, I've got a bit of a feel at the moment where I'm trying to reduce how much my right side really thrusts forward. So I'm trying to feel that I'm nearly trying to roll that right foot in to reduce how much it moves up and towards the golf ball coming into impact. So the best way to do my block practice is to have a practice swing where I'm feeling that sensation as an extreme and then trying to then replicate that in my normal shot. Also, grab yourself some alignment sticks. Let's have some alignment so we can actually know roughly where we are trying to strike this golf ball. So if I try to, I'm just gonna probably just go straight with the camera just to make it easier for you to see. And if you're on a grass driving range, try and find a nice little strip, because from a practice perspective, you can see how much the divots are all scattered around. Just try and get your balls in a nice little line, or your divots all in a nice little line. So hit one shot and then put the next ball at the back of the previous divot. And then just for a bit of alignment, I'm going to put a club just in the ground here, or an alignment stick in the ground, should we say. Just to work on a bit of start line. Now, when you are going to the range, say like once a week, for your block practice session, which is probably going to be a mid-iron, so to speak, make sure you're swapping the mid-irons around. So like, you know, today I'm going to use an 8-iron, next practice session, I should maybe use my 7-iron, next practice session, use my 6-iron, and then maybe go back to the 8-iron. Also, it would just give it a nice even wear on the grips, and you don't want to get a favorite club. You don't want to get so good with a one club that once you've got, you know, the next club in your hand, it feels completely alien, even though realistically it's just half an inch longer and 4 degrees less. So for me, my feel at the moment is keeping that right foot really planted. I feel really loads of pressure on that right foot. This is just individual to me. This is not me telling you what to do. This is me feeling it and then feeling that sort of trying to get that little roll on the way through. Now I'll just do that for every shot and then just hit my shots, see how my block practice goes. I will speed up the video so you don't have to keep watching me hit golf balls. Right, so just keeping it simple, block practice is finished. When you're working on things, don't always expect great consistency. I probably sprayed it around a little bit today, but all I'm doing is working on a new feel that I'm trying to ingrain, so it's important to just have realistic expectations on your practice session. The main target is, for me, quieting down my right side. I'm sure feel and reel look very different. I'm sure when I replay this video back, and I'll see that my right heel does continue to move up a little bit, probably too much, but if I can keep working on it over a period of time, a few practice sessions, it's not going to happen overnight, then we'll get better. Now, just moving into random practice, and ultimately I'm going to do the same thing, but just keep changing clubs. I've got 12 golf balls just for this little video, so I'm basically going to use every other one of my clubs now. So I'm going to just leave the 8-iron out of the bag and then just go through. Now, I like to sort of start with a wedge and then miss a club, miss a club, miss a club, miss a club, go up to the top and then go back and fill in the gaps that I've used. So we'll start with a 54, we'll work our way up, we'll get to the top and then we'll work all the way back down again. So same feel, same sort of process. Hopefully you realise that, even though I know I sped it up, but you'll see that I did the same routine for every shot, a little bit of a practice feel, a little sensation, and then try to hit the shot. So just so I can try to translate those feels into every club in my bag, we're going to do exactly the same thing. So we're going to start with the sand wedge, move our way up, and then by the end of the little 12 balls, I would have hit every one of my clubs. Okay, so random practice is done. So I've basically done my drill, my feel, my sensation with every club in my bag. So hopefully that's going to help me when I take it onto the golf course, that I haven't just got really good with one club and every other club's going to feel a bit alien with this sort of new feel. Now, last 12 balls, I'm going to do some game-based practice. Now, when you don't have any technology with you, or the functions of like a TrackMan range or a Toptracer range, then you've got to be a bit creative. So there's two things that you could probably do realistically. One, you could give yourself a little game-based points game. So you could put out sort of two different targets to create maybe like a fairway if you want to work on your driving, or have yourself an area where you can look on the green. Now, the thing that I'm going to show you today is basically playing a course on the driving range. I've got the Arccos app, which would actually give me that sort of preview caddy of each shot. Unfortunately, standing right here in Antalya Golf Club in Turkey, I haven't got signal apart from when I've got Wi-Fi, and Wi-Fi is just a little bit too far away. So if I had the function to go on the preview caddy, then I would use that and go through a course that I'm playing, about to play, or that I want to get a feel. Now, what I'm going to do is just go through the Pasha course for a couple of holes, because I've played it 4 times this week so far. It's a beautiful golf course. I fully recommend coming out here, Turkey, especially as I'm filming this in the middle to late October, and the weather is stunning compared to back home in London. So just going to go through. Now, all you can do is remember roughly the sort of club that you use. I know roughly the first hole I've been hitting driver, 8-iron, driver, 9-iron, depending on how well I've struck it. The second hole is par 3, which has been around about a 9-iron to a wedge. The third hole has been a drive and a pitch. The fourth hole, so forth. So I'm going to just go through with what I've got, and then we can have an idea of maybe what clubs. But at least now I'm now playing golf on the driving range, which is going to help me to get those feels. Now, what I would like you to do, though, is to go more through your pre-shot routine and to focus on being less technical. In my pre-shot routine, I do 2 practice swings, which I allow myself to be a little bit technical, I then visualize a good shot that I'm about to play, and then I'll enter my sort of golf bubble, and then I try to just think of the golf shot rather than the golf swing, which when you're on the golf course is ideally what you want to recommend. I know sometimes it's difficult when you're working on things, you want to be technical on the golf course, but to get the best out of your game, ideally you just want to be thinking golf shot rather than golf swing. So, first hole at Pacha, we're going to hit driver off the tee. And that's probably one of the best shots I've hit all morning, and my GoPro is about to fall off. It is very windy here today. My head cover's flying away though. So that was a well struck shot. Now I'm gonna say that's gonna leave me a 9-iron. And then because I've played the course, I can in my mind picture the sort of layout of the course, of the hole, of the shot that I'm going to have, and that then can really help me to understand, visualize that good shot. Green slightly raised, there's a bunker on the left. This is just going to be aimed down the right side of the green and then just draw ever so nicely towards that flag. Or could catch it really fat. So let's play the game. I definitely wouldn't be on the green. That's going to require a bit of a pitch shot. Let's say I've got about a 50-yard shot left. And we'll just say, just for argument's sake, I'm not too sure if you can see it on the camera, there is a little hill on the right-hand side, and I can see some sort of dark area. I don't know if it's a sort of a cover or something, but that is going to be my little target. Have to do a good pitch to get this up and down. Now that was a good pitch. It probably missed my landing area by like 2 yards, but it was dead over the middle. I really hope you've managed to catch that on camera. So we'll say, you know, knocked it to 6 foot, probably missed it. No, let's give myself a par. Right, next hole is that par 3. Now it's quite windy here today. Now, knowing where I am on the golf course, it's gonna play a little bit sort of right to left with the wind. So I can sort of visualize that, and I'm going to probably try to keep this one a little bit on the low side. So we're going to hit a little punchy 8-iron. So this is where you can start to get creative. I don't always just have to hit full shots all the time. So we're just going to grip down the shaft slightly, 3/4 backswing, a little bit of a punchy feel. Imagine I was going to try and keep it sort of slightly low under the trees. And that would have been okay. So, we'll give myself a nice little 2-putt par, shall we? Third hole is driver. It's not the longest par 4. Played yesterday and hit a really good drive, and left myself with like a sort of 40-yard pitch. And I actually made birdie on that hole yesterday, so we've got good vibes. So those are the sort of things that you need to really remember. Like, I can visualize the shot that I played. It was a little bit out of the heel, but just went dead straight in the end. I'm gonna comment that the IIO smoker's got a sweet spot all over the face, which is very useful. There's a sort of a bunker by the green on the right-hand side, which is really sort of like the target. So again, all I'm doing is I'm just picturing this golf course in my mind whilst I'm on a drive range with no technology. Now that leaked a little bit over to the right-hand side. There's actually not really much danger down there on the right-hand side, so we would be okay. Probably going to leave myself like a 70-yard pitch. Wasn't quite as good as yesterday, so would definitely be a bit shorter than yesterday. So when it comes to my pitching, I've got sort of two swings. I've got a half swing, I've got a three-quarter swing. I know that roughly my sort of three-quarter backswing with a 54 degree is about a 74-yard shot. So that's what I'm going to try to visualize that I'm about to play. Three-quarter backswing. Probably a touch short, but again, we'll just say, argument's sake, on the green, 2-putt par, we are doing okay. Right, fourth, Pasha is par 4. It's not, again, not the longest, it's under 300 yards. I get well confused because obviously all the yardages are in meters out here in Europe, and I'm not a meters guy. And whilst being out here, I've actually played with a couple that live in Finland and a guy that is German, and so obviously they're meters as well. So it was very confusing doing yardages and sort of bushnelling the distances. So par 4, it's a little dog leg. You can sort of just hit it fairly straight to begin with, and then again, yesterday played really nicely, hit a good drive, and had I nearly want to say it was 42 yards. Don't ask me why I remember these distances, but we had 42 yards. Now that is left going left. Okay, so that's going to go into the trees on the left-hand side. We will say that I've probably left myself a good sort of 100 yards in. And again, just to be creative, let's say I've got a tree in front of me, I'm going to have to shape it around 100 yards. So that then allows me to do a bit of shot shaping. We'll grab, not a 9-iron, where's my 8-iron? 8-iron, there we go. So let's use the alignment stick as the tree, and we're gonna have to start it right of the alignment stick and then bend it round. And I don't know if you can see the 125 marker on the left-hand side, which is not 125 yards from here, because I think the T markers are quite forward. So we're gonna say that's the green. Now for me, keeping it simple, I just close the face of my hands, aim quite right because it will start slightly left anyway because of face, and then will then curve because of the slope. And then this is going to be like a little 100-yard half swing, little punchy round the tree. And the fact that I nearly hit the sign, we'll be quite pleased with that. So again, well, let's say we've recovered well, we got out of the trouble, it wasn't the best, and we'll move on to the next hole. Next hole is a rather daunting par 3. It's like 150 yards, there's water all out the left-hand side. Right is okay, and the last 2 days that I've played it with this sort of wind conditions, it's been sort of into the wind off the right. I've actually hit 5-iron into that hole yesterday, so again, we'll use that as the feel. So we'll go, right, okay, a little bit of a punchy 5-iron. And I can nearly guarantee that if you are just going to the driving range and just whacking balls, you're not practicing your little punchy 5-irons. Because I've now created this game within my mind, playing on a golf course on the driving range, my practice is much more varied, which is therefore going to benefit me when I go on the golf course. So a little punchy 5-iron. Left is not an option. Let's just bear that in mind, shall we? So we might feel that we've got to finish right of that alignment stick. I'd be quite pleased with that. Probably, let's say, right side of the green, and we'll get up and down for a par. Now, the last hole I'll play is a par 5. Wind, if it's the same wind, would have made it tricky to get on in 2. Yesterday, I played and hit driver, didn't hit a very good 3-wood, and then had 70 yards left for a pitch, which I actually then got up and down for a birdie. There is bunkers right on the right hand side of the fairway. There's a bunker on the left hand side of the fairway, which is sort of the aim point because you can't quite reach it. Or I couldn't reach it anyway. So we're just going to visualize that bunker in the distance. Try to get this shot onto the fairway, and then we'll decide what we need to do next. So there's a nice low one into the wind. Up the left-hand side, probably be okay. So it's leaving me, let's say 220, just for argument's sake. It's not the longest par 5 should I say. So I've got 3 wood in hand. Let's say it is into wind, a bit like it is right now on the driving range. And then we're going to try and keep another little low one. If I absolutely nut it, we might get to the green. If not, we'll just have a little estimate of what I've got left. And then I've got 1 ball left, either play the par 3 next, or hopefully knock this onto the green. So let's see if we can get a nice little low 3-wood on the go. Okay, that looked quite tidy, but let's just say I finished 50 yards short, so we'll go back to that target on the right hand side that I had on the previous hole, and that will finish off my little game-based practice session. So I'm hoping you found this useful, and you know, you can take this into your next practice session and hopefully get a better value for your practice time. You know, I know we've all got busy lives, and you know, practice is precious, and we want to get the most out of our practice time. If you're just buying a bucket of balls and just hitting it, you're not going to actually improve. So if you can implement this sort of structure to your practice, I promise you, you'll get more out of the game. And if you're still watching, I really appreciate you, and if you can like and subscribe, I would be very grateful, as the YouTube channel is definitely a work in progress. Nearly. Thanks for watching.